With all the uncertainty, heartache, and despair around the globe,
Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Oh yeah, it's the end of the corporate age. I don't know how many days in a row I've had bad intros, just really. But this one is because I was majorly distracted by Markus. I'm gonna blame Markus because we were talking. I know I just turned on his audio too. I'm gonna blame Markus because he had me talking about this idea that I distracted him with, and. So there, I'm playing Markus. Good morning, everybody. And actually, before I bring Markus on, that right there is an example of what we have to work out before we can change the show. Production. Yeah. Hey, guys. Good morning, Markus. We'll start there. Hey.
Yeah, good morning, John. And I see you're full of energy, and yeah, you are. It was great. I tried to describe the audience what happened earlier when you said you go out to grab your cup of tea, and suddenly you rushed in again, and you came close to the camera with your face, and you told me, Markus. I gotta tell you something. Remember me when I'm back. And then you rushed out again, and I said, wow, this was really Back to the Future. Saying this, good morning, America.
Good morning, Markus. Good morning. I did have a Doc Brown moment because I've been trying to figure out how to change the show to incorporate more music because I honestly, just for two reasons. One, I think it would be better to have more music in it, and two, I'm selfish, and if I'm going to do this as for the revolution, I want it to be the way I want it to be, really, and that means I just want to be a DJ. I always just wanted to be a DJ, a VJ, really, and so I want to shift the format. But in order to do that, Markus and I have to work together to make some changes, and we're going to need a third person, not just that. And this is like taking what Laura Livengood and I were going to do on a regular basis. So I don't know. Maybe this is the precursor to that, like the proto version of that. But I want to go that way. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I got Melissa and Ashley. Hey, Ashley, that was your intro. It's a really good one. That was from the first pseudo-intellectuals. You guys did another one. What is philosophy and why do we care? That was on Sunday. It was really good and a lot of great discussion. We even had an angry Frenchman from Montana, and then we lost his connection. Paul. Problem. And he came back just in time to deliver his statement on philosophy. Hopefully in 2 weeks we'll keep that going. They're gonna bring more information. I like the show. I think it's fun. Thanks, Soul Rebel. Yeah, thanks, Soul Rebel. Kat, Janine, Steve, how you doing? Jilly Love, who's in here? Dennis, Invictus, Jim Lockett, Jay Atkinson, 85, Density. Good morning. Bev. Lynn, Stock, thank you all for being here. John, Warren, Jeanette. So many people. Holy crap. Holy crap, there's some shit going on. I can't even keep up. I think at this point, and I've said this over and over again, but really, if CNN were to announce that aliens had landed, they'd spoken with Wolf Blitzer, and everybody was working out an arrangement, everybody would be like, yeah, what did Trump say? Nobody would even like, whatever, aliens. I'm worried about this over here, the collapse of the United States of America, and I don't know, man.
They are not Americans, right? So they are illegal, and the travel ban, John. Think. They would land in jail.
Yeah. That's a question. What should the travel ban apply to? Does it? What would he do with aliens? That's a good question. I like the pseudo show too. I like it too, Darcy. What, John? You said that's a good problem to have. Makes you feel good. Good. Hey, Denise, how you doing? Hey, David Zinmaster. David Zinmaster, been a while. Poodle Susan, how are you? Brom, good morning. Melissa, Barbara. Build a space wall. I like that idea. We should build a space wall, and I bet aliens are like, please do. Please encapsulate yourselves, and we would be very happy. Please. The card, I wish I knew where it came from, everybody. I don't. It's the internet's. It was posted in relation to a tweet that we'll look at, but I thought that was fitting. Those of you concerned with Kathy Griffin's humor, whether you liked it or not, her choice of political satire, whether you liked it or not, this guy is actively destroying the planet faster than I ever thought possible. He's also uniting us all. So what are we gonna do? You know, I can't. Hey, William, how you doing, William? Hey, Oma. Dan, how you doing, Dan? What is what Oma says? How do you deport aliens from out in the universe? We'd find a way. We would find a way. The HARP gun. If we can come up with HARP, we can find a way to deport aliens. Maybe we'll use that. Maybe we'll make a big gun and shoot them out of the universe. I'm sure somebody, one of our people on the Space Science Technology Committee that thinks God will take care of facts when he needs to. So that's a quote by Jim Inhofe, resident retard of Congress. Anyway, okay, so we got the card. Before I always forget to add this. Hello, new patrons. That's what I wanted to talk about. Wesley and Naomi Scott, you have been watching for a long time. Thank you so much for becoming patrons. I appreciate that. And I'm not going to get your name right. Chris. We're just going to say Chris. Krzysztof or Krzysztof. Polish Christopher. My middle name is Christopher. I'm a quarter Polish. Chris Falkowski became a patron, and you're Polish. Awesome. And we're having a nice chat in Patreon. It's really cool, and appreciate that. If you are a patron and you're on there, I know I've got patrons that don't use Patreon. That's totally fine, and I talk to you too. But I do reply to messages and talk with people there on that place more so than I do other places. So just to let you know. Thank you guys. Thank you all. I appreciate that. Anyway, where is my cover? All right, we'll get there. This was something that I dropped in earlier. I just want to show this really fast because it's frightening. I'm not even sure what... Oh, no, that's not even... That's no, okay, I'm sorry. This is the link. My bad. I do have a link to the source of the picture of the card, but I don't know really if that's who got it. But it's an interesting piece. Events coming up. Events. We have We the People. Meet Misty K. Snow, candidate for Utah's 2nd District. That is happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific. Please join us for that conversation. Very excited to talk to Misty. And then we have the People Summit. And that's going to be pretty huge. I got to get, by the way, Ash, I have to make a template, or I'm gonna have to do something with the card because I have to make an event for Friday night because we'll be doing something Friday night starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, right? So 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm probably gonna start 6:30-ish Eastern, yakking with you guys. So that'll be 3:30 Pacific. Sorry, Marcus, you're probably gonna be out at that point, but you know,
Yes. Definitely.
definitely you'll be sleeping. But the next day, you can join us in the morning for we're kicking it in. I mean, they'll start the whole day, and then I can't remember if Bernie is Sunday night or Saturday night, but you got Nina Turner speaking one night, you got Bernie Sanders speaking another night, you got so many other people in between, you got these big rallies going on and all this stuff, and we're going to cover it all. Scott Galindez is going to be there interviewing people live because we've got a beautiful feed coming from the people putting on the People Summit, and it's good. There's panel discussions. I don't remember if your last time they had a great panel discussion on different things, and it's gonna be fun. So join us for that, and yeah,
Sam is also there at the summit, and
yeah, got Sam
maybe we'll
Ronan
see him there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that we're interviewing is going to be there. Stephen Jaffe's going to be there. We're going to connect up with him. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
and you guys make that possible. So thank you. The fact that you're here, watching, paying attention, that gives us reason to be doing what we're doing, right? So I appreciate it. Everything you do, really appreciate it. There was so much stuff. The big news is the Intercept bombshell, right? We're all familiar with what's going on with that. To me, that's big news. We have a new hero, a new American hero has released information that we should know anyway on all of these employees that have been appointed in the Trump administration and all their illegal ties, conflicts of interest, as well as many other nuggets of information. All right. The weird thing about this whole thing is the name of the person, right, is Reality Winner, which threw the press and everybody off and me off because it was like, is it a cover name? It's not a cover, it's her name. Very, very smart veteran, was hired into top secret clearance and chose to share the information with the Intercept. And that information is out. That information is available for us. There are links in the description of this YouTube event, as always, to not just this article about it, but the actual content. I mean, this is huge. The information that they're uncovering. I think I have a link. There's a piece in here, just separate information, not related to just the conflicts of interest between these folks. Right? None of these people, if run through an actual ethics review, should have their jobs. That's basically what all this information says. It's just now we have it plain and clear and out in the open, which is not where the Trump administration wanted it. And now that woman is going to face the full wrath of Jeff Sessions and our corrupt DOJ at the top. Right? That's a huge sacrifice. That's a huge sacrifice. What are you guys saying? She is so young. I know. It's not her real name. Someone linked to her Twitter. I know but yeah. And I actually have that right here. I mean, my understanding is that this is a tweet, right? And this is catching a lot of shit. Kanye West, you should make a shirt that says being white is terrorism. Because it kind of is. And that was trending on Twitter. And it was getting a lot of white people pissed off about it, right? NSA leaker is a Bernie supporter who resists Trump. Good for her. And anybody who's white, who's offended by that, should just shut the fuck up and think about at least the last 2,000 years of white dominant history. And then if that's not enough, keep going, right? I mean, you don't have it's just like the N-word. You don't get to use it, and you don't get to say it's not a white male problem, because it is. I'll go far with the male. Everybody wants to say white, but I mean, really, women haven't been equal ever. Still aren't. It's It's a problem. And it's a problem when white people get all defensive about it because they go, being white is not terrorism. Well, no, I mean, I'm not a terrorist, but white people are pretty much the terrorists. We're causing the endless war. We're causing the endless terror. In particular, the United States of America's white people. And here in the United States of America, just to be clear, let me make sure I have my link up here. I don't want to confuse anybody. The numbers don't lie. White far-right terrorists pose a clear danger to us all because 73% of the terrorist attacks that have occurred on U.S. soil since 9/11 have been perpetrated by white male terrorists. I'm going to go with the facts. So, don't know what else to say. Don't know what else to say. We're attacking the wrong people. Always dangerous to try to squeeze complex things into a tweet. Very true, Invictus. Things couldn't possibly go awry to explain something deep and heavy in 140 characters. No. Marcus, your face is wonderful.
Thank you. I know, man. Yours too.
The love here. The international love between Germany and America still exists.
Yeah, yeah.
Despite what Trump does.
We don't give up each other.
No, no. I know, Melissa, Fox News doesn't report that, so Trump supporters don't believe it. I know. It's what I'm facing in Twitter right now. I had different... Where's that? Here. I was going to show this later. But this is... Liberal governors team... I posted this. This is my account. Liberal governors team up to fight climate change. Right? I was excited. And then Right Girl... And just so you know, Right Girl is definitely, she's a conservative patriot Tea Party gal, marched on D.C. against Obamacare. So she actually took the time and effort to march against health care for everybody that was working for most, as opposed to what we have going for us now. Anyway, so that just shows you where the brain is. And so she responds later, this is much later, these guys just learned how to put on their pants. Hopefully they can make the huge leap to tying their shoes. Total losers all. Although I looked in and I'm like, so you spelled there correctly the first time, you spelled it incorrectly the second time. So I had fun. There, it's okay. Climate change is real. That was my... How do you... like, grammar fail, although I realize that's not really important. You don't get to call somebody out saying they're stupid and fuck up your tweet. Anyway. Love you some Twitter. Just do it. Or John, do it. Yeah. It was working for most. Melissa, it was working for me, I'll be honest, but it was working for 23 million more people than it was prior to that. Right? I mean, it was better than what we're going to get. It was a step in the right direction. And I'm not even going to argue one way or the other. We shouldn't have touched it. We should have worked to make it better. The chickens are coming to roost. Yes. Yes. Jeanette, I did not see that Newsweek was saying Bernie making money off his book. How dare he do that? How dare he do that? Actually, he's kind of on a book tour, but not really. He's not really. I mean, his books are there, and he does the thing, but he's in Europe, stumping for Corbyn. Really, it's pretty awesome. We're going to talk about that actually. Let me make sure I'm on the right thing here. We got a lot of things to talk about. So the Intercept, just to recap the story with the whole Intercept reality winner thing is a lot of information. The Intercept provided a Google Doc, and they're loading more of these pieces of information to that doc, and they've asked us, the internets, to sort through it and find the connections, because there's a lot of information in there. And they say they will credit anybody that finds any of the stuff. So have fun. I've linked the doc and the original article, so you guys can just go to town. And let's help them uncover the truth that we should have known in the first place, and make sure everybody understands just how not qualified Trump's 20% of government roles that he's filled. These are employees for 20%. There's still 80% of the government he has not hired that he was supposed to hire. People like to be in charge of FEMA for hurricane season. I mean, we don't have somebody in charge of FEMA. They don't do a good job when we have somebody in charge. The fuck are we going to do when there's nobody in charge? God help us all. That's, Bernie invaded England. England represents the heart of our world. Bernie. Yes, Patricia. I'm glad he invaded. This is your American invasion back. We sent you Bernie. All right. Canada sent us Bieber. We at least had the kindness to send you Bernie. Just okay. And Bieber and Nickelback. That's what we got from Canada. Seriously. I don't know. Honestly. Anyway, what we really have in Canada is we need to, as Americans, I need to accept both Bieber and Nickelback and whatever else they fucking want, because that's probably the closest place for me to flee if I need to and request asylum. So just leave it there. Bob's your uncle. Just in. Kathy Griffin sues John for photo of her with Bloody World. Back to you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, do you think that's going to cause problems? I don't know who did that. That was, yeah, that's great Photoshop work, I guess. No, Kat, nobody, Yeah, 278 Google Docs, exactly. It's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. I guess that most of Bernie's book money will go help good people. Good. That makes sense. He's honest. There's another article. Whatever. I'm not worried about it. Every time they've tried to throw Bernie under the bus for one thing or another, it always ends up being bullshit. Yeah. It's always bullshit. Canada has some great TV. Really? Like what? Name me a show. No, you're right. They're what was it? SCTV. Many comedians are actually from Canada. Take Off, Hosers, right? That whole thing. That's my generation. You guys remember that? Who was that? That was why can't I remember the actors? Do you remember them?
Nope.
Bob and Doug McKenzie. I think that was Canadian. I don't know. That's just, I've been to Canada. Very nice place. Nice people. Matter of fact, Vancouver, British Columbia, is considered like a sister city to Portland, Oregon. And I can see that. It's very cool. Very windy, though. Windy. I was there. I'm not dissing Canada, Bev. I'm not at all. I mean, look, I can like say you gave us Bieber and Nickelback, and we could go on with some other things that aren't exactly the best about Canada, but we have Trump. There's, it's like, yeah, we brought the worst of the worst. We win. We brought the oozing pimple on the ass of America. That's what he is, and that's our gift to the world. Bernie is an independent, so he's out there working on behalf of the 99% on the issues. He's over there in UK. We can't claim ownership of Bernie at all. He's out there. But Trump, we created Trump. There's a Star Trek episode that's I can never remember the name of it, but it's went from the first season. Tasha Yar, I think that's actually how she dies, and it's this evil ooze that's on the planet. They left the beings that left the planet left this ooze behind, and this ooze is just all of their evil and hatred and grossness and everything, and they shed it off, and it was a being. It turned into an actual being. That's Trump. That's what we've created for America. So we'll take your Bieber, we'll take your Nickelback, we'll take whatever else Canada we got to take, your cheese curdles and whatnot, and whatever weird TV you got. Your soft porn, that works for me. Dewey Bueno, speak for yourself. What? Anyway, Skin of Evil. Thank you, Melissa H. That was it. I actually wrote a metal song about that in the band Ricochet, 1991. It was a local hit, Marcus, a lot like our end song today. It if you were familiar with our band in the local Denver suburb of Littleton around 91, then you
Okay.
then
I'm
you knew
looking
that
forward to
song.
hear it.
You knew. I don't. Somewhere in the attic I have a tape of it, but it's got ruined. It sounds like underwater now. I gotta figure out how to fix it.
There's nothing on YouTube with a VHS camera recorded or something.
No. Well, the members of the band are still on Facebook, and I see them post stuff occasionally, and you can see them in my Facebook in one of the pictures. But and one of them probably still has a good recording of that shit because they kind of still relive those memories a little more than I do. Anyway, that was one of the other relevancies with the end songs. Like, I had a band that wasn't even close to that big at all. And they were just a local hit, right? San Jose.
Yeah, and some bands didn't deserve to be known only regional, and other bands or so-called artists becoming world stars. Well, not my thing, you know. I prefer the real stuff.
Yes. Agreed. Well,
especially with our outro song today.
All right. Either way, Scorpions are the best. Moving on.
Fast moving on.
Yes. It's like a dirty punch. Moving on. Tasha Yar, Jilly Love. That's who Tasha is. That's who he's talking about. That's the first security officer on the USS Enterprise D, right? Till Worf came in, he took over. Tasha died. Anyway, all right. So we're moving on with other things. We're going to run this real quick because not only did we have the so much stuff. Intercepting is one thing. We had horrific terrorist attacks, right? It happened in London and France. I don't even know how many attacks because this morning I heard another story about another attack, and I haven't even confirmed what's going on there. I mean, there's just stuff going on, and there was something that happened, a couple of things that happened in the U.S. over the weekend. One of them in Orlando that's just a workplace veteran with some guns, mad that he lost his job and took out 5 people, and then himself. And then I think there's another one that's going on. Holy shit, there's gun violence all over the place in America, particularly with white folks. There's a lot of gun violence these days, a lot of anger going around, terrorist attacks happening around the world. And before I forget my point with the guns, because we're going to play this AJ Plus clip talking about the difference between the London and UK and a lot of places in Europe and guns and Trump basically using this as a way to politicize his Muslim ban, which he's called a travel ban. Sorry, not a Muslim ban, a travel ban, although it is Muslim and it's other things now too. But remember that whole can't call it a ban, unconstitutional, it's not a ban, please stop saying ban 45, you stupid idiot. And he's like determined. So just like yesterday, see what happens, big attack. Now this is the reason for my travel ban. And his press office is like, it doesn't mean to call it a ban. It's not a ban. We tried to tell you it's not a ban. Like, the guy can't even fucking keep his shit together. I just want to point this out to every American that probably hasn't thought about this. Really, I want you to think about this. 9/11 was huge, and it was perpetrated, my understanding is, for the most part, by Saudi Arabians, right? So we can call that a foreign terror attack. Since then, it's really only been about 26% of the attacks in the United States by terrorists, Islamic terrorists, under the definition of Trump. What happens next few years if the White House or if the federal government of the United States that is operating separate of the states at this point continues to escalate its wars? At some point, we're due for another. We're due Like, Europe has been having these terrorist attacks, and it just seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, Marcus, but it sure seems to me like all of Europe has been dealing with a hell of a lot more fucking actual terrorism attacks than the United States has been in the last 10, 15 years. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct about this. And
Okay.
yeah, and there are no demands from the public to get weapons here, because it's no topic.
Why that's a very important point. You guys have been dealing with what seems like more and more terrorist attacks, and it seems pretty obvious that the reason these things are increasing is because we over here with our allies keep feeding the fire, right? We're fueling the fire there. I mean, regardless of what the Islamic people feel one way or the other, we're feeding the weapons. We're selling the weapons to all sides. They just uncovered, I don't know, it was $100 million worth or $1 billion worth of weapons ended up in the hands of ISIS, right? Those were American weapons. Ended up in the hands of ISIS. We're causing your terror.
For those terrorists, we are the representatives of the Western culture. And this includes Europe and the democratic states. And of course, we are a target.
So it's just so it's just more convenient for them to terrorize you. Is that what it is?
Yes, yes. And if Trump steers it up, maybe it was intended to force us somehow to get more militarized. I don't know.
But I mean, if I were you, I mean, honestly, if I were in Germany, if I were a German, I would be really pissed off. I would be so angry. If I would like, you know what? I'd say, hey, Merkel, I changed my mind. I want some weapons, but I want them pointed at the U.S. because they're the threat. They're the threat. Why aren't here? So the American would get angry at the beast. You guys are like, more weapons, not the answer. How do you? I don't. It's amazing.
It is not like that. I think the majority here is not accusing the American people, maybe for electing Trump, but not for what Trump is doing right now. There is much more laughter, and yes, of course, the worries are rising here as well, because Trump acts so irrational for us in Europe that we cannot understand him, and this is why Merkel, Macron, and other European leaders said we cannot trust him anymore, or maybe only up to a certain point. But anyway, this is no question. We don't talk here about weapons. We don't see weapons in the private sector as a solution for anything. Because I think the majority here knows that terrorism is nothing you can declare war on. To it. It makes no sense at all. You cannot declare a war against a sick ideology.
We did.
It makes
what do you mean you can't?
No
we
sense.
did. Of course you can.
Yeah, you can, but it makes no sense.
Only to American. No, I agree. I agree. What you're saying though, and what here's the thing this is the problem. We have generations of Americans, including myself, that have grown up understanding this is the way it is over here. This is what you do. This is right. This is correct. This is American policy. Weapons, right? And
it is a weapon. It is easy to be explained. Weapons became your number one or number two export article in the world since World War II. And if you see what happened during the war, and when the American soldiers went to Germany, that a lot of women had to take over there. And when they came back, it was a complete industry which was working, and Europe was in shambles. There was nothing, and this was the basis for the wealth of America. And of course, it was a logic solution to say, okay, if we can, if our weapon bring us so far, why not continuing all this? And if you see at the last decades, it proves the thinking, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm scared about, and the reason I'm talking about it in this way, is we're due for our beatdown. And it seems like what's going to happen is America, for all its waging of war on everybody else, for regime change is about ready to beat the shit out of itself. And that would be just desserts.
How many successful in the American history? I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm asking our audience. How many regime changes were successful in the end? I only know Germany, because that's not difficult to see. But any country else, I don't know. I'm not convinced. For example, if you look at the most disturbing thing for me is the situation around Saudi Arabia and Iran, because Iran had elections. Saudi Arabia don't have elections. We don't have to talk about the quality of the Iranian elections, but they have elections. Then look at the history of the Iran, former Persia. There was Mossadegh, who was the democratic elected leader in Iran or Persia. And the CIA made it possible, yes, to bring him down. And they installed Shah Reza Pahlavi. Yep. And he was hated in the country. And the country said, no, we don't want him and we don't accept him anymore. And guess what they did? They brought Ayatollah Khomeini. And they radicalized it. It was the intention. It turned out into complete crap. And instead of going on to Iran, because they are much more democratic than Saudi Arabia, a Wahhabistic regime, which causes terrorism. We know this. You know, they are getting weapon deals for 110 billion, if it's true. This is absolutely ridiculous. And this goes to my government as well, because we are selling weapons also to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Well said.
Here we go.
Here we go. Good rant.
Thank you.
That's the truth. That truth that you just described there. I didn't know that truth until a couple years ago. Right? I had no idea what the actual history of any of that shit was. I just knew that for some reason the United States had gone under Iran a couple times at least to set some democracy straight. That's American history. Okay?
And there's another interesting fact what empires concern. There is no empire in the world history which fall on the battlefield. They all fell because it was not to arrange, it was not to organize anymore.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That is so true. We are going to... it's good discussion. Heavy shit. You guys are having a great discussion. Stock post, Iran was fine before U.S. fucked it up. I would say that probably the whole Middle East would have resolved its own shit eventually had we not stepped in for oil. We turned that place into what it is for our resources. There's no other reason. And prior to that, white people turned that place into a fucking hellhole for whatever religion they were interested in at the time. Right? I mean, the Crusades. It's really tragic. I would love to have seen the Middle East before everybody started blowing the shit out of it. I bet it was amazing. The history that has been turned to rubble for our limited resource greed is just... It's just disgusting. It's unbelievable. I want the shirt. I want the shirt that says, I'm still pissed off about the burning of the library at Alexandria. Because I am. I am. I really wish, I hope, well, we're on our way. Whether we level ourselves now or not, human beings survive climate change, the earth will end up being great. I hope we end up evolving into the beings I know we can be. The peaceful, intelligent, star explorers that we should be. That's what I want. That's what I want. I know we got a lot of fucking work to do down here. A lot of work. Basic stuff. Democratic Party. We'll talk about that. Let's look at guns. This is just a primer for 45 on guns. Thank you, AJ Plus. And it's got no talking, so sorry, podcasters. It's a frightening statistic. Nothing to be proud of there. We could be first in space exploration. I don't think we're that anymore. First in green energy. We could be first in so many things. What we're first in is destruction and death, weapons, penis extensions. Penis extensions. We've been, and what's sad, Marcus, I just got to say this. You and I have laughed about this before, Pompeii and other places. We've been obsessed with our dicks since day one. It's just,
Yes.
it's unreal, you know.
Yes, it is a downfall or backfall into yes into times of very primitive domestic primate behavior, you know. And maybe it was the last one that now the pendulum swings now to the other side.
Maybe.
This is what I hope.
Maybe. I hope. Maybe we can get children's tunes in the next 10 years. Don't be afraid of the vagina. It's your friend. For like kids, guys, you know. Because we really have to undo that. Like, for as uncomfortable as that sounds to even come out of my mouth, right? Like, that would help. We need a society that's open about that shit. And what we have is a male-first society that's really proud of their dicks, no matter what, and is afraid of vaginas. That's seriously what we got over here in America. Maybe not elsewhere, but in America, that's what you get. Anyway, and I know everybody's going to argue with me about that, and I don't really care. Why Planet of the Apes? Well, because we are. Phallic fixation, yes, nine tails. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Absolute penis power. Anyway, we're going to move on from dick jokes to racism. Why not racism? Because if it's not your penis, it's about making somebody else around you feel lesser, because that's what white males like to do. I don't know why. I don't know that we like it. It's just indoctrinated into our being. We're white. We're male. Yep. And we don't recognize it. And don't you call me on it, because I'm going to get defensive. And fuck you taking me to court because I'm white and a male. But I don't have any privilege. I don't see color. I treat you all equally. Yeah. Yeah. Truth Against the Machine. They got an exclusive here. Flint official says water crisis caused by N-word not paying their bills. It's good work by them, and you know, just another proof of racist assholes in power. This is cool. This is Time Magazine referencing the Truth Against the Machine. So good for them. I'm glad they got. And the reason this is here and that it's good is because it says that official has now resigned. Could you imagine if we could make that happen faster? Everybody who's a racist asshole and is going to get caught for it on social media eventually, can you please resign now? So that we don't have to bother finding your asses. Because we will. We're going to out you all. Get rid of you out of our government. Because you shouldn't be there in the first place. So, good on Truth Against the Machine. Good job, guys. Are we to this? I want to show you my card. I get really proud of my cards, guys. You know that. I get proud of my cards. This one I shouldn't be proud of. Really. This headline. Red blood, white phosphorus, and blue faces. Go USA. Jeanette Hoban says Jordan of TYT is turning into a superb reporter. Absolutely he is. And he thinks so too. That's all I'm going to say. Leave it at that. This is I think about what it would be like to be somebody living in a country that the United States was currently attempting to bring democracy to. I would probably be dead already. I don't know how anybody could sleep. I don't know how anybody could live. I would be so scared, and I think everybody in America has no fucking clue. I think people in the UK and Germany, other places that have been experiencing more terrorism, have a better idea of what it's like to live every day, wondering, am I going to walk down the street and get on a subway and it's going to blow up today? Is somebody going to accost me in a train? We're starting to feel that in America, right? We're starting to feel that. Is a white supremacist going to slash my throat today? This is the United States of America using white phosphorus, which is banned. And this is just so frightening. I can't believe we're this kind of monster. I don't know much about war. I just know that that's not how I want to be represented. That's not how the people of the United States want to be represented, as the people that drop white phosphorus on hospitals. I don't understand. It makes me so angry. It's really hard to take my animal anger at people that would do this to other people and hone it back into something that can be nonviolent and working for my democracy here. That's what we have to do, because I'm not going to win, as Markus said, and let me just make sure I can bring this all back around, Markus. You Germans have learned, basically through getting your asses handed to you and having to rebuild your place from rubble, that you can't really fight a war on terror. You can't really fight. You can't really. It's not really productive to go around warring, right? We just.
How can it be productive? War is always destructive. Yeah. It's its nature.
It's really hard to create with destruction.
Yes.
That's seems to be the issue. We're trying to create with destruction, and everywhere we throw our beautiful destruction, it doesn't make beautiful creation. It's really
but you made in one country, you didn't make it only by destruction, you know, Germany, and this was the example. And after the war, you became friends with Germany, and you helped us think about the Marshall Plan, about the massive help coming from air in Berlin. When the Russians closed Berlin, and Berlin wouldn't have survived without your help. And this was the thing which most Germans remembered for a very long time, you know. And it was not the Americans as the invaders who made us lose the war. No, it was the Americans as our saviors somehow before the Russians would come, you know. And then you didn't treat us as your enemies, because you didn't make the same experiences like the French did, or the British people did, and the Polish people did, you know. And this was very helpful for us, and this is why America became so important for us. Until we saw a few years later with the Korea War, then the Vietnam War, then we got our '68 revolution here in Germany, the student revolution, that America is not only the good guy we all knew from the movies, you know,
right?
From the classic movies.
No, we're the Walmart of weapons.
Yes, this was a game changer, and now more and more people are critic about America, mostly about their, as they say, craziness about weapons.
It's time for us to grow up. We need Germany to school us. Merkel got to smack us around.
It has nothing to do with schooling. I only can tell you from what happened here in Europe, in Germany.
I know. We haven't learned yet. We haven't learned yet. Well, thanks for being our friends now. At least you're trying. I mean, Merkel's giving us tough love, basically. Right. It's time for us to move on, America. We're here when you're ready. Door's always open. Right.
I think I heard from her advisors who made it clear that she didn't move away from America. She's moving away from this administration.
Yes. Yes. And they're delineating between the American federal government and the states of America.
Yes, and I heard there are already that California and China are making an environmental deal, and I think I can imagine that this would include very soon Europe as well.
On that subject, by the way, Ashley, I'm going to answer your question in a minute as to how do I know that that's America. It's irrelevant, and I'll answer that. I'll explain why in a minute. But what you just said is actually really important, and I was going to drop this article for tomorrow, but I think we'll talk about it today. China, because of what Trump has done in his stupidity, China is now set to gain the most, not just in terms of renewables as far as saving their fucking people, but in terms of economics, because now they will become the leader in renewable productions. They're already producing more solar panels than anybody else. Why do you think Tesla's so eager to get his gigafactories up and going, right? So China's like, okay, the U.S. had this manufacturing opportunity, but everywhere they're trying to stop that. We'll take it. We'll sell the shit. And so Trump buys all of his stuff from China anyway, so maybe that's what he wanted. My ties come from China, your solar panels come from China. China's like, whatever, you guys don't want to lead? Okay.
As Trump refuses to see the reality and gets out of the climate treaty, you will have in 5-10 years, you guys will have to buy the solar panels. And they will not be produced in America.
Nope.
They will coming from China.
Right.
This is why the big chance is passing by.
Yep. But while 45 and team are doing that, the business world is recognizing where the money is. So they're either investing in the Chinese companies or they're doing their own thing in the United States. And we've got states that are like, fuck that. We're going to move forward. I mean, California, their tech sector is like, we're kind of moving ahead with renewables. Fuck 45, right? I mean, that's everybody's doing that. So, yeah, it's great. We had a troll again. Did we have a mass surge in people? No, still the same. Thank you, comment mods, wrenches, everybody. Thank you for taking care of that, keeping our conversation relevant and focused, even if it's not between me and Markus. Appreciate that. So really quick on Ashley Terry's question, how do I know that's even the United States? I don't need to. We are the #1 weapons seller in the world. Even if that's not the U.S. dropping the bombs, which I'm fairly confident it is anyway, because we have done many, many raids in Syria in the last several weeks since Trump took office, and the Pentagon keeps reporting, yep, we did that, yep, civilian deaths, yep, we bombed a hospital, yep, we did this, yeah, we might have used white phosphorus, we admitted to using white phosphorus. There's Pentagon reports, yeah. So it's not like that. So basically, we've already said we've fucked the Geneva Convention. That's old news. Right? Even if that was another regime attempting regime change on that hospital, we supplied the weapons for that regime. $1 billion worth of our weapons in the hands of ISIS. So I'm going to guess some of that white phosphorus was either shot by ISIS or by us or by anybody that buys weapons from us. We're the fucking Walmart of weapons. So by proxy, by design, it's our fault. Let's just... So, that's how I know. That's how I know. and again, if you look on that link, there's a string of other it's like, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Like, we're only seeing the big news. We don't see all the other deaths that are happening all over thanks to Americans and our democracy bringing to the world. Don't you feel so good? Anyway, I just want to make it clear that if we accuse, we are correct. Otherwise, we have to be correct twice to make up for it. No. Well, I mean, I'm not going to check that. If you want to verify on that particular one, you can. The Pentagon doesn't seem to really blink eyes much anymore. Yeah, we did that. So why do we need to care? Anyway. Yes, Dewey Bueno. California fracking on the fault. We talked about Jerry Brown's response that I never actually played. That's somewhere in an old article where he explained why he is keeping fracking in California, and that is because the infrastructure for oil and gas, he says they can't replace that fast. And that it is unrealistic for him to go all out renewables without first replacing the entire infrastructure for the millions of vehicles on California roads. And in truth, I can kind of see his point. For California, because nobody walks in LA or most of California. They're all in their fucking cars, and they've got lots of cars, and you've got lots of oil usage, and you've got a lot of infrastructure. We talked about why the energy transfer partners and other oil people always want to make those pipelines and put that infrastructure in. It's because that shit's expensive, and once it's there, it's a big pain in the ass to get rid of. And so California, they were like the king of refining for a while. They got a big problem to deal with. What are you laughing at? Who's saying what? Jilly Love. What's Jilly Love saying?
No. I'm laughing about Ilkan28. At Dewey, I'm convinced Kofifi was all he could type before his advisors wrestled the phone out of his hands. Nice one.
Oh my gosh, there's still good memes popping up about that. That will be his. That should be his. Yeah. Sums it up. CAA, Prius, and Tesla surge fixes that. There's always been a solution. Maybe. On that point, though, well, no, we're going to get to that. We'll get to that. I got to start with Scott. There's more climate stuff I want to talk about. Hey, all 72 of you watching. And hey, everybody that's going to watch later. Thank you for dropping by. And I see you've been putting comments in. I've been trying to respond to those comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. Necessity breeds action, or whatever the expression is, John. Right, Katie. Don't worry. As the coastlines disappear rapidly over the next 10 years and the refineries are destroyed, that will help a lot. It really will. So will buying new renewable tech from China, like the train that is self-driving, runs on electricity, recharges itself when it hits a station, and follows 2 dotted lines. That kind of stuff that China's working on that I was going to load for tomorrow. Because there's just so much stuff. Here, before I forget, let's talk about Scott Galindez's post here about the People's Summit, From Resistance to Power. We've been talking about this, and now that I'm involved in ground game, I feel a lot more. I feel like I can talk about this a lot better. What are we talking about here? This is Scott. First of all, he's just mentioning that we've got the event, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to start Friday evening. Be 3:30 Pacific is when we'll start. 6:30 Eastern, and then Saturday, I don't know what time I'm going to start in the morning. Sunday, I don't know what time I'm going to start in the morning. I'm going to get events for each day, and we'll look that up and figure it out. And I'll probably break it up into 2 events. It'll be like a morning event, and it'll be an afternoon event. And the afternoon event will have the Bernie Sanders in it, so that and the Nina Turners. The big evening thing is usually, the big thing they got. They usually have a panel thing going on in the morning. Anyway, it's going to be fun. Here's Scott, though. What he's talking about. What's going on? This is the 2nd annual People's Summit. Last year, instead of holding their yearly convention, National Nurses United held the first People's Summit. This is National Nurses United. And I want to say, Roseanne DeMoro, I would love to have you on the program, whether it's the Awake program or we want to bring you on a special We the People, because you're a badass, and my mom was a nurse, and you've been doing great stuff for nurses, and I will promise you no F-bombs. We'll come and we'll interview you, and I'd love to talk to you. So I'm going to reach out to Roseanne. She follows the Bernie TV Twitter, and I'll see if I can't get her on here, because she has just been the figurehead for National Nurses United, and just on the Twitter and in the marches and doing the work for California's bill, SB whatever, 56 or whatever was the one for healthcare. She's just been working so hard, and here they are putting on this the People Summit. And last year's we broadcast that, and it was phenomenal. This year we've got badass live streams that we don't have to provide. So we've got the main program being done by that. And we've got Scott Galindez, who will be interviewing all of the people we know and other people, and hopefully we'll get a Bernie interview because Scott's got clearance to do that shit. I wonder if he still needs that. Bev, your book for the weekend? Wonderful. Wonderful. Cheech and Chong had a hemp truck in a movie. Cheech. But Chechen, that's kind of a cool name, actually, for a typo. Okay, you guys are doing so much this week. Everyone who could should become a patron. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, whatever you guys can do. I'll be honest. I would rather, don't take this the wrong way. Everybody that's a patron and can afford to be a patron, muchly appreciated. Thank you so much. Everything I get as gifts, shirts, comments, whatever, I love it. Thank you so much. It encourages me every day to do this and do more and do these things. If you can, great, donate. If you're strapped and you got $2 you can give to something every month, and that's all you've got, don't give it to me. Give it to a candidate in your local town that needs it. Give it to somebody that's running to change a seat in your state, in your town that needs it. Or volunteer time if you can. That's really where the money has to go. There are a billion shows like this out there now in independent media. We've got to get the candidates into office or we're screwed. We really are. But thank you all so much. It's just, thank you. Okay. More from Scott. This is the big message that I've been having, well, today I've been meeting with two people from the Democratic Party. One of them is the head of the campaign committee chair, and the other one is the chair of the Democratic Party, or co-chair of the party. And they're coming here to look in my garage, which I had to clean really quick to make it presentable, to look at the technology and talk about how we bring the Democratic Party into the 21st century. My point is about communication. We're not communicating right and well, and I've got some sadness in that, knowing what Scott is telling me about his Democratic Party in his county and their communication, which is basically stuck in the 1800s with paper and scribes and probably parchment in some places, and people meeting in person, and everybody's having a hard time trying to meet in person, because what you have is these Democratic parties, and then within them you have all these little committees. And some places go nut shit with the fucking committees. Other places only have a few committees. There's no actual set structure for this crap from the top. There's nothing. Just understand this. When Hillary said she didn't inherit anything from the Democratic Party, what she really meant was none of the state parties and none of the county party people inherited anything from the Democratic Party. She got it all. Right? And only their top person gets anything. Only their selected trophy people get anything. The actual local county office don't get shit. It's frightening to me where my county is. I'm just trying to explain this. I was trying to explain this to Markus earlier. And the reason I'm talking about this is because of Scott's message here about we need to stop talking about Trump being wrong. We need to start focusing on us and the issues. Fuck Trump, okay? We don't have time. We don't have time. We have a Democratic Party, and I'm talking to a lot of different people in a lot of different parties in a lot of different counties across the United States, so this is not a limited sample here. They all have problems with communication. They all have problems not even using 21st century or 20th century tools to get communication done. They're all scrambling to try to meet in person. They're all not accomplishing much as the Democratic Party. Why am I concerned? Why are you, and you guys are going to be like, well, again, fuck the Democratic Party, leave the Democratic Party. You're missing my point. The Democratic Party right now is in a shambles and is eager for somebody to come in and say, this is how things get done in the 21st century. Here are 21st century communication tools. Here's how we could not have to meet in person to get shit done. Here's how we could get opinion and information and data flow online from our own county by using the internet. The local county Democratic parties don't even have that shit going on within their own ability to communicate, organize, and get things done. This is an opportunity for my generation, Generation X, which is the bridge between boomers and millennials. We're the ones who translate for both worlds, right? That's what we are. Generation X has to save humanity by translating for both, bringing everybody together, and bringing everybody up to speed, right? Millennials need to understand how the fucking government works at a base level instead of running around screaming, why isn't this happening? And old people need to learn how the tools of the 21st century function instead of saying, well, can we do a conference call or can we all meet at the church at 5? Because meeting at the church at fucking 5 once a month is not going to build a democracy in time to save humanity. And that's my big fear. We have to be on point with our message. We have to be focused about what we're doing here. It's not about Trump. It's about electing new candidates and putting people in power as fast as we fucking can. And the only way we're going to do that is by communicating and using the tools of the 21st fucking century. and when I tell you that my county's Democratic Party is leaps and bounds ahead of others, and that I am very sad with the state of my current county's communications. I'm excited as fuck all about the people. The people are eager, they're there, they're willing, they're ready, they're able. They just don't know anything about how to use modern communication tools. Not a one. I am 47, and I am the most knowledgeable tech individual there. I will be speaking with Jeffrey, 61, the previous most knowledgeable tech person there. Why does this matter? Let me just back up to this. You have a party ready. You have people in it that know the structure but need your help to get it going. And they're ready and they're eager. Building a new party, not going to happen in time. Completely transforming the Democratic Party, that's a viable possibility because now I understand just how sad it's in. I walked in and again, the people, they're ready, but the state of organization is not there. It's not there. We need to put that in place. We need to put that in place.
I remember the interview with Sam Ronan when he said that of course he would need money to run all this, but he said most importantly he would need an army.
Yep.
And this is exactly what you are talking about, and what we have seen, what we have heard from others who are concerned with this matter and who are confirming that there are so many opportunities to get involved in the system and to do something, you know. And there is, when not now, when it has to happen now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we have
the best worst conditions to think about, in my opinion.
We do. It's dreams come true. Now it's our Armageddon moment is here. We needed an Armageddon moment. It's here. It's just, are we going to grab Steven Tyler and Bruce Willis and do it?
it's no Armageddon moment. It's an Armageddon period.
Well,
because
okay.
it takes time. It takes time.
It's not a moment because when it's over, we're gone.
Everybody was only oriented for the moment that Bernie wins, and then everything would go easy.
Right. It's an Armageddon movement.
You know,
Armageddon movement.
we need a long breath.
It's Bev. It's the best of the worst, folks. She nailed your quote. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Katie, you're in here. I got a question. Have you ever been to Scotland? Just really quick. Because I don't think you were in here the other day. Have you? She's not from Scotland, right? She's from Ireland? I can't remember.
She's Irish.
Irish. You ever been over to Scotland? Because it's close. I'm just curious because it looks way more depressing than Ireland was when I was there. I was watching a show. It was in the summer. I know this is a total side thing. It was in the summer in Scotland, and the summer looked like winter. I was just like, does it always look like that? Anyway, just curious. Scotland's got me. I'm intrigued with Scotland. Just looks really cold all the time. Just total. Katie's the only person I know that's even close to Scotland, so I thought I'd ask. I know. You ever vacation over there, Marcus?
In Scotland? No. I've been to Britain several times, but I've never been to Scotland, unfortunately, and not even in Ireland.
Damn.
But I heard it is beautiful there.
Ireland is beautiful and misty and wet. It reminded me very much of Portland. Very much.
Irish people are. I knew some Irish people from Düsseldorf here because we have several Irish pubs here, and great people. So much fun.
Yes, agreed. We're not bashing anybody. Who's bashing who? Who's bashing anybody? I'm just talking about being able to bring people together. Or is somebody in chat bashing people? What gen was before Boomer? That was the Depression era. So my dad was a proto-boomer. He was a little bit before he was in the gap. His parents were Depression era, right? Scarcity era. If you're born in Depression era, then you were one of the people who kept everything because you were born with nothing, right? You grew up in that era. That's what was before that. Anyway. Well, there you go. Scotland is beautiful. Katie says, we are wonderful. Gorgeous place. Ignore the weather. High spirits and fun. Oh, not me. Okay, thank you, Lynn. Appreciate that. Oh, Brahm has everything from Feinstein and Pelosi blocked. Why? It's fun to read their silliness. Then I can respond. I like seeing their dumb stuff. All right, we're not going to finish. I was just going to talk really quick about, we got 10 minutes left. I did a terrible job of being on time today. And I do have to end on time because I got company coming over 12:30, right? Jeremy Corbyn is basically the British Bernie Sanders. And they're going to vote this Thursday. And Katie's going to come in when, Marcus? When is she talking to us about this?
I talked to her before and we wrote before, and she will be there tomorrow with us, and she will bring us her perspectives on what's going on there, because it is going to be very, very exciting.
It is. Awesome. All right, so we'll have that tomorrow. Talk with Katie about the elections. Hopefully, Jeremy Corbyn can win. He's a remarkable comeback, right? Bernie Sanders out there stumping for him, and it was. I mean, she wasn't expected. The whole reason this election is happening is because the Tories thought they were going to kick this, right?
Yes, because when she came on the idea to start new elections, the only purpose was to strengthen her position in the UK in the Parliament, and at that time the Labour Party, which is led by Jeremy Corbyn, was in shambles, and no one bet a dime on them to win this. And I think it was even 2 or 3 weeks ago when Theresa May was still leading with 20 points, and now some polls say that Jeremy Corbyn has a chance to take over, and I think this would be marvelous, and I wish him all the best, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Maybe the UK can do what we failed to do here and elect the right person. That would be fantastic. Yeah, you guys are all, yay, Corbyn. What we learned from 2016, don't trust the polls. Yeah, Jeanette, I don't know how corrupt the UK elections are compared to US elections. So,
Oh, I don't know that they are corrupt. We saw this in France, and the French polls were quite accurate, and I think even the Dutch polls were quite accurate.
all right. So you've got faith. You've got more faith in the in that polling system over there. I would too. I would too. Right. Absolutely. Moving on, everybody. This is a helpful tool for everybody who is attempting to have a conversation with anybody who disagrees with you on things like climate change or, I don't know, America's history or records or any fact. Whenever you're trying to, or fact. These are logical fallacies. Your logical fallacy is what this. It's yourlogicalfallacyis.com. URL. These links are all in the description. This is like one of the most basic ones. You hover over and you get a different one. False cause. Presuming that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other, right? That happens all right. There is no correlation here, but you're just assuming there is, right? For the sake of your own. Appeal to emotion, that's used all the time, right? Manipulating an emotional response in place of a valid or compelling argument. A great example of that would be Trump using the latest terrorist attacks to promote his idea of travel ban. Right? Emotional appeal is attached there. Oh, I'm upset about what's going on. Hey, let's talk about why we should have a ban over here. Straw man is probably the most common, though. Trump uses it all the time, misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Case in point, when he backed out of the Paris Climate Agreement and completely misused the MIT data about the Paris Climate Agreement to make it appear like it was not worth being involved in the first place. So, this is a great way to just drop this link when you're arguing with a troll or a Trumper or a Hillbot and just go read this and see if it applies to the current conversation and the words that just came out your mouth. Please do that. Right? And if you don't think it does, I will be willing to provide you with greater explanation. But this is where we're at. You're arguing illogically, which means we can't have a discussion. That's been the big problem here for a long time, is people not believing in fact and then people not understanding how to argue, right? So anyway.
Did Sean Spicer really said we have the right to disagree with facts?
Yes. Yes.
So did he?
He did.
Good one.
He did.
Good one.
This is yeah. It's unbelievable. He basically tried to say that the President of the United States is so powerful that he has the right to say and dispute facts. Just, nope, it's this way because I'm the president. We haven't seen that kind of power since what, Henry VIII? I don't know, the Pope, Middle Ages. Although the Pope kind of says he could do it today, but really Pope John Paul, or well, not John Paul, Pope, what's his ass, the guy today, going on back, actually, even go back to John Paul, they rarely argued with physics much, right? Anyway, I wasn't going to hit this, but I'm going to now. This is one of many examples of things going on. I don't have links to all the stories, guys. Just know that we have hate crime, racist hate crime rising up in America at an alarming rate. It's happening all across the country. Here is a speaker. She was going to speak at a university, and she changed her mind because she's getting death threats because she's black. This is happening a lot. It's frightening. And we are witnessing the rise up of a very violent, right, racist group of people. And the reason I'm saying this is I want everybody who's on the left to remember words that Markus has said just in general about terrorism, and that is fighting violence with violence is only going to make you look like the violent people and not help the cause. And that is in direct conflict with my own feelings that at some point I'm going to have to defend myself against somebody violent, and I'm not going to sit there and let them beat the fuck out of me. But I'm not going to be the perpetrator of violence. That's somewhere we got to draw our own lines there. That's just what I'm saying. This is just an important note for everybody. It costs us $75,000 a year to house a prisoner in California. That's more than it costs to send somebody to Harvard. Why don't we just send our prisoners to college? Something that Bernie had talked about before when all the MSM were like, ha, 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 that's really funny. No, it would actually, imagine what that would do. Essentially, in other countries, this is what they do anyway. It's reintegration. Let's take you, somebody who obviously needs something new to do besides being a criminal. Let's help you become something besides a criminal. Well, what can you do? How would we like to bring you back into society? Because I don't want to pay $75,000 a year for you to get health care, dental care, whatever else they're fucking getting. Yeah, you got to live in some pretty shitty conditions, but, you know, I'm paying.
And you know what?
What?
If those guys come out of jail, they have no chance to pay back anything as a taxpayer, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Because if they don't get a chance to educate themselves or get educated, they have no chance for a job. So what would be the consequences in most cases? They're getting criminal again.
Right. Yeah. They go back to what they can do. That's it.
You know? So I can only assume that this system is wanted somehow. Yep. Because it is against every logic.
Profit is against every logic.
Exactly.
And that's where we're at. Profit takes priority over logic, over people. That's really where we're at right now. You guys are talking about the Kim Weaver story, and I have a little note on the Kim Weaver story from Scott Galindez. So, yeah, I have no doubt that she is receiving death threats because that seems to be the norm. Anybody who is running against some Republican asshole somewhere, or anybody who is coming even closer, they're death threats, right? That's happened. So I'm not disputing that she's receiving death threats. However, the real reason probably isn't the death threats. It's that she was previously a pay psychic. She charged by the hour to read people's cards. She was a psychic, an online telephone psychic. And while personally I don't really give a shit, right? That's a job. It diminishes credibility for Kim Weaver in the campaign, especially a campaign where she's trying to unseat a Republican. So probably not worth going for. I mean, that's what you're not hearing in this story. Not that I want to diminish Kim Weaver at all. I'm just saying there's another aspect to this that you're not knowing. Thanks to Scott Galindez for that little nugget of truth there. How would you feel about that, Marcus? Would you give a shit?
To be honest, I didn't quite understand what the problem is. What is she doing? She's a telephone a psychiatrist?
No, she used to be. She used to be one of those people where you call a telephone psychic, right?
Yeah.
For
what is the
$4
problem
a minute.
about it?
Well, it's a hypocrisy, is what it is. See, in America, it's okay if you're a CEO and you've had child laborers or raped people or fucked employees. It's fine if you're a CEO because that's a title of a company that's prestigious and okay. But if you've had a job like a telephone psychic, well, that's considered somebody who's bamboozling you because they're not really a psychic and they charge money for that. So that kind of job isn't considered as prestigious. So it would be a credibility issue, especially to a bunch of white bread Republican American voters, right?
Okay, now I get it. You have to invest a lot of money and get nothing for it. This kind of service.
Well, it would be no different than if I paid for a horoscope subscription because I was really into my horoscope and astrology.
No, I get it.
Okay?
Because we have hotlines here in Germany, or we have a hotline which helps people in mental cases and offer help. But this is not charged per minute or so.
Right. No, that's different. That's different. It's
okay. This is what I was wondering about. I said, why are they attacking this woman for this?
No.
I think this is a good service, and most here in Europe or in Germany do it without charging money, and they do it apart from the job.
Right. So here the people make a living doing that kind of shit.
I get it now.
Being a
Okay.
medium.
Okay,
and here's the ultimate hypocrisy. CEOs are okay with no morals or ethics. Religion is okay. You're allowed to believe in whatever imaginary God you believe in, and you're allowed to give them as much fucking money as you want, anytime you want, and that's tax-free. But to believe in a psychic and pay them $4 an hour, that's silly, and that's,
I see. Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to. You're going to believe a dude in a robe who's been lying to you about a book of bullshit for thousands of years. $4 an hour for a psychic, or a minute, whatever it is, might not be bad. Just cut through the bullshit, man. Tell me a story I like.
Okay. I see.
Make me feel better. That's the hypocrisy there. What are you guys talking about here? 45 needs a good psychic, like Rasputin. He needs, yeah.
Rasputin.
He needs care. I'm starting to feel really sorry for him. I really do. I felt bad for W at the end because W was just a fucking mat. He was just used. Trump isn't used. He's just so unaware of his own horrificness. He's so unaware. He's such a damaged child. And think about that. At what point in that kid's life did he become so abused that he turned into what he is today? That's sad. It's like the Star Trek episode, the Skin of Evil. Again, just going there. It's sad. You ended up having empathy for that creature at the end of the movie. You're like, what a horrible thing, and it killed Tasha Yar, but I feel bad for it. It didn't ask to be this way. It was created this way, and then it was encouraged by mainstream media and adoring idiot fans. Trump's our product. Be proud. It's the greatest American product ever. That's the cover story on here. This was the article I was referring to the other day, Lynn, Vermont. This is a congressperson. U.S. Congressman calls for holy war against Islamic horror, says kill all suspects. And that's him with the gun, and he's looking all like look at that penis extension he's got there. What a big man. That guy got elected. You want a better reason to run for office? That guy got elected.
And John, seriously, we can talk about weapon registration or a training on weapons, etc. This guy doesn't need to have a gun in his hands.
No, you don't think so?
It should just not be allowed for those guys.
If he's it's 12:05, I'm already late. If he can win Congress, why can't he have a gun? That's our laws here. Unbelievable. All right. I've got a couple climate things that are depressing. I just got to move through some stuff. Avoiding 2 degrees of warming is now totally unrealistic. This is Michael Oppenheimer who's just talking about it. I agree 100%. We're not even going to come close. We're going to lose a lot of coastline really soon with the cascade effect that we see going on. This is the best meme ever. You guys seen this? Here, you can't see it all. I got to zoom it out. Best meme ever. Is this going to fit? There we go.
Watch him as he mows.
See that? That's a real picture. Apparently this guy mowing his lawn with a pretty ominous looking twister coming his way. And that caption. That wins 2017. Hands down. That's it right there. The number one argument against electric cars is now debunked. The people that have been screaming about electric cars not being environmentally friendly as regular cars simply because of manufacturing and all of the cradle-to-cradle shit that goes down. No longer the case. So there it is. It's based on where people are, where our electric grid is getting its energy from, right? That the electricity use was being derived of fossil fuels, and now actually that's not the case. More electricity for the electric cars. In California alone, where almost half of the country's electric vehicles are registered, it improved. Here's what the statistic is. Let me give you the real statistic, because this is a little confusing. The average electric car in the U.S. now gets the equivalent efficiency. This is about fuel efficiency. Right? I should have made that clear. It's about fuel efficiency. The average electric car in the U.S. now gets equivalent efficiency of a non-existent 73 miles per gallon. That's the equivalent in a gas-powered vehicle. That's the fuel efficiency because of where it's deriving its energy. Right? So 73 miles per hour equivalency to a gas-powered vehicle. There is no gas-powered vehicle on United States roads that gets 73 miles per gallon. Right? So that is how electric vehicles are now more environmentally friendly. They have a higher MPG. There it is. Did that make sense, Marcus? Did I just fuck that up all over the place? I don't know.
No, it's okay.
All right.
Perfect.
I tried. I don't even know why. Just the Green Climate Fund that everybody was, people bitching. There's where we sit. Had we actually finished Trumpers were complaining about the Green Climate Fund, and Trump was like, we're not going to pay into that. What a stupid thing. We put $1 billion in. We owed a couple more billions. If we had gone all the way, if the U.S. fulfilled its original $3 billion commitment, there's some number on here, is it 9.1%? Or it's 10. That's what it is. It's $10. If we had fulfilled our agreement, every American would basically have coughed up $10 a piece to survive the Paris Climate Agreement. Sweden, on the other hand, every Swedish person is paying about $60 a piece. German people paying $12.40 a piece.
Much too less.
Much too less. I mean, and listen to that. Marcus is like, much too less. Is your life worth $10? Is a clean environment worth $10? Trump doesn't think so. Trump.
Don't you think it should be? Don't you think it should be worth 100?
$100
minimum?
Yes. $99.99. Yeah. Anyway.
I think every effort should be started, and it should be no matter of cost. It's completely bullshit. Cost it is no argument.
Yeah, but remember, logic doesn't fly here. That's why we have the logical fallacies.
Yes, I'm sorry. I always forget it.
All right, I'm going to run this just because this is frightening. This is one of many things happening across the United States that's frightening. Climate change is causing inland cities to ask the question, are bridges too low? Forecasts are calling for more intense rainstorms as climate warms. And crews are raising bridges to handle more frequent flooding. We're not addressing climate change, we're raising bridges, folks. An AP check in a handful of states found that at least 20 locations where bridges have been raised or construction will begin soon. FEMA expects more severe flooding because of climate change. That could mean higher costs for a country that has seen more than $260 billion in flood damage between 1980 and 2013. That doesn't even include the most recent years of severe weather. We're in some deep shit, folks. I got an article tomorrow talking about how they can't even move 50 people out of an Alaskan town. The town is flooded. The whole town is flooded. Like, it is one of the first of 2 towns in the United States of America that are being devastated by climate change right now in Alaska. Alaska is super fucked. And we can't even figure out how to move 50 people out of a town. What's going to happen when we have to move 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or 1 million? 4 million people would have to move from coastlines if we had, and this is estimate, 3 foot of ocean rise. Where are we going to put them? Going to send them to Germany, Canada? Where are they going to go? Marcus is like, no, fuck you.
Who's typing?
Yeah, and then there's the Hanford leak. You just can list all that stuff. That we have a lot of problems. We really do. We're done with this show. It was kind of an interesting show today. Marcus and I were so busy talking about what we're going to do to change the damn thing, which we'll talk about more another time. But I really have to get out of here because I got somebody who's going to come to my door here really soon, and so. What is Ashley saying? Well, to be clear, I don't think anyone will stop natural climate change, but we can slow it by not contributing and make preparations for the future. Yeah, but what we really need to do is mobilize like a war. It is the anniversary of D-Day today, by the way. And we've been saying for a long time we need a D-Day on climate change. Incremental little stuff is not going to cut it. We don't have that kind of time. We don't. Anybody who keeps saying, I'm worried for my children's future, if you're my age, if you're Marcus's age, if you're 60, if you expect to live the next 10 years, quit thinking it's your kids that are going to be affected. That's just, seriously, it's going to affect you now. What happens when millions of Americans have to migrate to your town? What happens when you can't get that fish anymore, or that milk you wanted, or that cheese? I mean, if you don't think food production is going to grind to a halt, next 10 years are going to be insane, catastrophically insane. We got hurricane season starting with no FEMA director. We got millions of Americans that are going to be devastated by climate change this summer alone, that can't afford to move, probably don't have insurance to cover whatever's going on. That's just going to, every time this happens, every time something hits like that, it lowers our ability to recover. We're not preparing for our kids' future. We are working so that we will survive longer than the next 10 years on this planet. And anybody who thinks I'm being an alarmist, really, realize that all the data, all the numbers that they quote when they talk about it, those are all the least number. Like they always, NASA know all, they always go like, well, this is like the highest number. Instead of going with like the most extreme version of the digits, they go with, well, 2100, the longest period of time. Not, here's what would happen if it was the absolute worst. They never go with those numbers, right? They always go with the least. Just keep that in mind, that we've been indoctrinated for the last 20 years to believe that the number, that the year 2100 is some point we have to get to, which is a crock of shit. Thank you, MSM. Well, by the end of the century, if we've been thinking about climate change, as long as we've done these things by 2050, we should be fine. Scientists say, bullshit. Have you looked at what the recent data says? We don't have 10 years, folks. Ashley Terry, you will be suffering through climate change catastrophe with your kids. And so will I. It's again, call me alarmist, but this is why we have to mobilize. The planet's doing it. Trump the Uniter is making it happen, right, Marcus?
Absolutely.
He's making
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Yes. What do we all agree with on Barbara saying here up here, guys? I don't think the president's religion should matter. It shouldn't be an issue. I don't think the president should have a religion, but that's just me. I agree it shouldn't matter at all, because your belief system shouldn't come into play when we're dealing with facts and logic, right? Does Merkel go to church? Just out of curiosity.
She is a priestess daughter.
Really?
Yes.
Do you guys give a shit over there? Do you guys talk about religion when you elect the person? Is it a matter? Is it an issue?
No. It's about politics.
Interesting.
Mostly.
You don't. It doesn't even come up in the news. They don't go like, "So, what religion are you?" Or they just like, no. It's like, no.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, what's the song you picked to get out of here? This is a weird one. Marcus picked, he's always grabbing weird stuff from America because he knows more about this than I do. But this, you call this punk era, like proto-punk or something? Or?
No, this is, in my opinion and in the opinion of some other music lovers from that era, punk music didn't start in the 70s, but much earlier in the 60s. And in my opinion, the founder of punk music were the Sonics. I will play a song of them in a later show.
Awesome.
I picked something which is called acid punk. And it is from 1967, where a lot of trips were clinked. And yeah, I think the influence is audible in a few seconds. And anyway, it's one of my favorite songs from that era, because it is so out of time, and it is unique in my opinion. And it is called Susie Cream Cheese by Teddy and His Patches. and it is the name says it of the song. It is a reference to Frank Zappa and his Freak Out album, where I think the first time came up the name of Susie Cream Cheese, and obviously Teddy and his Patches were Frank Zappa lovers at that time, and Teddy called his band after his first name, and the patch is because due to a cancer sickness he lost an eye and he has to wear a patch from that on, and that's where the name comes from. The band was not very long existing. They were formed in 1964 and split up in 1967, the same year where they produced or made the Susie Cream Cheese song mentionable in only 4 takes. And I think quite interesting song. I hope you like it. It is maybe nothing for everyone, for ears of everyone here, but I think it's pretty nice, and it has a very, very cool video. And there is a warning: those guys who have epilepsy, please be careful, because there is a lot of psycho stuff in it.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, and see you tomorrow.
Nice wrap up. Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate that. It's a good pick. If you're epileptic like me, be careful. There's a lot of flashy, groovy stuff going on here. Psychedelic, man. And I didn't even know this existed. San Jose was where these guys were a local hit and signed to a country label, which I thought was interesting. Marcus always educating me on American stuff. I'll have to teach you something about Germany someday.
All right, do this. I'm curious. I'm looking forward to it.
It would just be Scorpion's history. You just need to know. So.
I think I have to go. I'm feeling not good.
We'll see you guys tomorrow on Awake with John and Marcus.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Susie Cream Cheese? This is the voice of your subconscious mind speaking, Susie. Susie, what's got into you? strobe light flashing and hearing the music clashing, and they experience a whole new dimension in sound. Just open up your closed mind and take a trip on mine, and you'll never want to touch the ground.